Flight of the Kingfissher is a pulpy science fiction adventure story. See the episode description for content warnings, and stay tuned to this frequency. Hello, spacers, settlers, and a special hello to all you scoundrels. You're listening to Radio Free Frontier. If you can hear my voice, you're only a few short star lanes from Fort Solar, the brightest spot of civilization outside the old worlds. Stay tuned for the news you can use and the hottest tunes. And remember, keep on flying.
Hello, and welcome to Kitten Marlowe Presents Flight of the Kingfissher, an actual play of Adrift on a Sea of Stars, an original carved from Brindlewood TTRPG. This is a game about a group of working-class heroes trying to survive on the edge of space. My name is Robert Merkel. I will be the keeper for this game, as well as the person who wrote this game. My pronouns are he, him, and without further ado, let's jump in. There is nothing sweeter than a few days of shore leave on a beautiful planet. Sure, it might be nice if this one had a real city instead of this prefab research camp, but beggars can't be choosers. Camp Sophia is nestled in an idyllic jungle atop recently discovered precursor ruins, just an hour up the slow river from the white sand shore where your star cutter is moored. It's going to be a day or so before the dig team finishes up here, and you have to transport them and their discoveries back to civilization. So it's the good life for now. Nat, if you would introduce yourself, and tell me, what is your crew member doing to enjoy their shore leave on this tropical paradise?
Hi, I'm Natalia Montgomery, also go by Nat. My pronouns are she, her. And my crew member, Esperanza Zeta Cruz, is found at the local watering hole, downing more alcohol than anyone around her, and spending her time making wagers, particularly about her lace-fire pistol skills, throwing out pieces of glass into the air and shooting them out, causing little explosions of sparkling glass. Esperanza is about 5'4" with warm tan skin and a buzz cut that's grown out just a little bit. She has a muscular build with strong shoulders and a prosthetic right arm constructed from a dismantled lace-fire pistol. The brushed gunmetal pieces create a hollow structure from the middle of the forearm to the wrist, in the middle of which is a continuously firing laser. A similar hollow casing forms the palm and the fingers, and small laser pulses can be seen firing within them as well. She is wearing a sleeveless red leather jacket over a crop top, flared jeans, combat boots, and a lace-fire pistol holster at her right hip.
All right, T.
My name is T. Wade. My pronouns are they, them. Dr. Avery Swan is currently slipping up a pair of undergarments and smoothing out the front of a beautiful floral sundress. They are 5'11", very pale. The climate of this particular world has not been their favorite, and they are in a mosquito-netted pavilion that presents the illusion of privacy, but is really just a way to keep the local fauna out. They are sweating and out of breath as they turn to a strapping local, kiss him on the cheek and say, well, if that's quite everything, I do have some work to do. Off you trot.
And Wes.
Hi, I'm Wes Franks. My pronouns are they, them, and I am playing Captain Valentine Shuffle Deck with 2 Ks. We see Captain Valentine Deck currently lounging in a fold-out chair near where the Star Cutter, the Kingfissher, is moored. The engine is currently idling so that there is a small, tight blue flame coming from the exhaust of the rear of it. The foldable chair is folded out from a safe distance away from it. There is currently some meat that has been fished from the sea nearby that is on a spit that is rotating right just outside of the exhaust so that the engines are cooking the meat itself. And currently the captain is wearing a floral aloha shirt. You can see dog tags hanging with a couple of teeth on a necklace. with a ragged, semi kind of mullet. It just looks like somebody tried to trim up the sides and edges of their hair and then just kind of said, that looks great. And is wearing mirrored sunglasses that are reflecting the sun off. There's also a sun catcher that is beaming sun rays directly at the face, giving the illusion, or maybe even giving the presence that somebody is enjoying the sun, the beach, the surf, everything. This is the best job ever.
Esperanza, your revelry is broken when all of a sudden the sun is blotted out by an enormous gunship. It hovers over the excavation camp. In this moment of panic, what is your first instinct?
My first instinct is to run out of the bar and go find Dr. Avery Swan. I do a shot as I go out the door.
As you're doing that, the dining hall speaker crackles to life and a gravelly voice fills the air.
Hello, my friends. I'm sorry to interrupt your important work, but this planet and everything on it is the property of Commander Thade. Shortly, we will be sending down several shuttles to retrieve any valuables that you may have unearthed. We appreciate your cooperation and look forward to resolving this without much unnecessary violence.
A handful of small craft break off from the gunship and head towards you as you prepare to survive the daylight raid of Camp Sophia. While most Carved from Brindlewood games are about solving a mystery, Adrift on a Sea of Stars is about overcoming problems. The problem of this particular adventure is that Camp Sophia, the archaeological dig where you are currently housed, is being held hostage by Commander Thade and his gunship. If you want to get paid for this transpo job, you need to escape with the dig team and their discoveries mostly intact. This is a complexity 6.
I'm scared. I'm already scared.
So, Esperanza, you ran off to try and find Dr. Avery, who when we last saw them was over in the temporary quarters where both your crew and the dig team have been housed for the time being. These are mostly prefab, plastisteel buildings, small and cramped, and always slightly damp. Paint the scene. What has the dig team done to make these cabins feel a little more like home?
Because these cabins are so ramshackle and they're meant to be collapsed and imported to different tropical areas every time a new dig is discovered, none of them feature a door. They're all open doorways. So each dig team member, in order to claim their bunk, has a tapestry or other piece of fabric from home that they hang over their door to mark theirs.
The prefab units have been arranged in a circle or semicircle facing with those entryways that have the tapestries in front of them towards a central community area or like a conversation pit with like a bonfire area in the middle of it or what have you, just to kind of push the idea that you are still in a community while you're here on this job site.
And within each of the prefab buildings, each member of the dig or whoever is present on the site has put up pictures and artwork from home. One person started doing it and everyone took inspiration from it just to make their own living space feel a little bit more personal.
You quickly spot Dr. Avery Swan leaving the mosquito netting of their cabin.
Hi, we have to go. We have to go now.
Oh, what's the problem, Z? I need to freshen up.
Look at the sky. Look at the sky. Look at it.
And looking up, I go, I take it that's not one of ours.
Definitely not. We have to go. Where's Valentine?
The captain is always with the ship, of course. If you can't find him there, find somebody else's.
I came to find you, okay?
Well, I have to collect my things. I'll meet you at the Kingfissher.
Are you going to be okay?
Well, that remains to be seen. It was a bit rougher than usual. Yes. It's the usual bundle and run. I'll be right behind you.
Okay. Zeta takes off towards the ship.
And Dr. Swan goes back into their tent and begins collecting papers, research, all of the, cluttered desk, clear mind remnants that now have to be shuffled to be organized later.
Unfortunately, due to the dense nature of the jungle surrounding this dig site, you were unable to land the Kingfisher directly at it. So the ship itself is about an hour's trip down the river on one of the camp's hover skiffs. About an hour down that river. Valentine, what are you up to in this moment?
You see the captain has now gone from a state of relaxation to a state of flusterment as trying to pick up a boombox, but also the foldable chair, but then also don't forget the fish and everything. And it's just looking at and it's like, Tito, what happened to the guy that was helping out around here? It's trying to open up one of the side compartments on the Kingfisher and everything. And then finally sees probably somebody that works within the dig site is like trying to wave them down and be like, can I get a approval to fly. You can't hear me over the engine. I've got it idling. You gotta get closer.
A young woman dressed in the sort of t-shirt and cargo pants that seems to be the uniform of these archaeologists runs up to get closer to you so that she can hear your voice. This is Diana Daredevil Chapman, the youngest member of the dig team, and the one who has been assigned as liaison to your ship. Hi, yes, sorry. Do you know what's going on?
Yeah, Diana, right?
Yes, Diana, yes, that's me.
It's nice to meet you, Captain Valentine. You can call me Shuffle. I think we met before. You're the liaison, right?
Right, yes. Do we need to evacuate? What is going on?
There's a big fuck-off ship that's blotting out my sun rays. I was trying to catch some sun and everything. You got wonderful purple tail it's just practically flying out of the ocean right into the nets and everything. And so I thought I would take advantage of that. And now there's Captain Fade. I haven't heard of that one. Fade, whatever. It seems that he hacked your intercom systems, sent a message talking about how all this belongs to him now. So I need to get approval to get my bird. Well, it's technically it's a bird. Got to get my bird up in the air, get an hour down the river. I got to get my crew so we can get the heck out of here. You understand?
Of course. Is there anything I can do to help?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. So I'm going to be working on getting the bird ready to get up in the air. I need you to get approval from the flight deck crew that's going to let me to get out of here, because the last time that I was stuck in a newfangled situation like this, I got a fine after fine thrown on my ass, okay? And I really cannot handle that right now. Okay, champ?
Sure, yeah. I don't know if we have an official flight crew or anything. This is a small operation, but...
That's a perfect moment. We don't have to worry about any of that. Ignore everything that I just said for the past 5 minutes, and you just go ahead and come with me, all right? Do you know how to use a turret? We do not have a turret on board this ship, but we do have means of making it look like we do. So if you can be convincing with it, that'd be really solid.
I can give it my best shot, but I'm an archaeologist. I've never fired a gun in my life.
There's always a first time for something, Daredevil. Time for you to earn that nickname, all right?
Cutting back up to the camp, Esperanza, you approach the boat shed, one of the larger buildings in this compound. It houses a few hover skiffs, slow-moving vehicles meant to transport people and goods up and down the river to a safer spot where your star cutter is currently moored. To paint the scene for the boat shed, despite being largely used by scientifically minded people, there are evidence of good luck charms and silly rituals all over. What of those do you spot?
The way the skiffs exit the boat shed is framed by a wooden doorway, above which is nailed a horseshoe.
Despite the advent of electricity being commonplace in lanterns and other sources of illumination, the boat shed itself is only lit by one oil lamp, which must always remain lit.
You can see that there are wide-brimmed hats that are typically worn, that are kept on the boats, that have hooks caught in the brim of them, and they're from catches, especially big or lucky catches that they've made of fish.
Inside the boat shed is James Kim, a slight man, probably in his late 40s, with thick rimmed glasses. He's the lead archaeologist at Camp Sophia, and has been the person who ultimately will be responsible for you getting your paychecks for this job. Do you know what's going on? There was an announcement over the speaker, but
Yes, we have to go. That is the crux of the issue, is we have to go. So get in a boat, we're gonna go.
And as you say that, you hear the distinctive sound of a spaceship engine coming closer and closer and hovering for just a moment before it splashes down into the river that runs through the camp. The first of the shuttlecraft has landed.
I physically pick him up and I throw him in a boat.
Yeah. You are a big, strong woman. I think you can do that pretty easily.
Okay, who else? Who is upriver? Who is downriver?
Diana is the only one that we left down by the Star Cutter. Everyone else is either here or in the ruins themselves.
How many people?
A dozen.
Okay. Are you any good at fighting? Any good at anything other than digging?
That sounds to me like a recon move. The recon move is when you look for an edge, explore the unknown, or otherwise gather information, describe how you're doing so, and roll with an appropriate ability. If you could roll that with presence.
Okay, so Esperanza is holding him by the shoulders, just kind of yelling in his face, and sees that he's maybe kind of panicking, reaches into a pocket and pulls out a small circular medal with a buffalo imprinted on it, and presses that into his hand. You have more strength than you think. You have more bravery than you know. You can do this. And I'm gonna use my Nickel Buffalo Medal of Valor to get advantage on this roll. My presence is 0, so, okay. That's gonna be a 6.
Off to a bang-up start.
All right, let's cut back to Dr. Avery Swan.
Dr. Swan takes like a lumpy metal or pockmarked space rock off a stack of papers, kisses it for luck, and shoves it into their messenger bag. They pick up all the papers, organize them-ish, shove that in there as well, looking around frantically, having difficulty trying to decide between personal effects, research notes. There's a firearm that is on the bedside table that is completely ignored, completely like lost in the sauce as far as this like parchment and ink, and just trying to shuffle like the manuscript. It was trash anyway. Throws it off onto the floor, and then sees a heavy-looking case, and just in their heart knows that that is not going to be something they can drag through the jungle, and has a moment, then pokes their head outside the shed. Goes, Tom, come back. No, I'm not looking for round 2. Keep your pants on. We have bigger fish to fry. Listen, these artifacts, they's going to confiscate everything in this camp. But if you have everything, it takes a lot of time to get through, and some things might be overmissed. Anything in a big crate labeled dig finds is going to be confiscated immediately. Swan unlatches the accordion case, picks up their accordion, sighs, kisses it, puts it on the bed, and then puts the sheet over it, tucking it in, and then takes the case and gives it to this digger and says, put the shiny one in here.
As you're telling Tom this, you are outside so you can see the shuttlecraft that lowers, hovers for a moment, and then splashes down in the river. You can also see the plank that extends from its door, and the group of men dressed in what looks mostly like Navy uniforms, but a little too ramshackle to be a proper organized military, begin disembarking, lays fire rifles at the ready.
Quickly now, there's a good lad. I kiss him on the cheek, pat it with my hand, and then push him away as I tighten my bag against me and begin casually, as if this happens to me all the time, strolling toward the boat shed.
I think that sounds like a day move. The day move says, when you do something risky or face something you fear, name what you're afraid will happen if you fail or lose your nerve, then roll with the appropriate ability. So to me, that sounds like a day move with composure to keep your cool. What are you afraid will happen if you don't?
I'm afraid I will be mistaken for the leader of this operation and brought aboard Thade's ship for interrogation.
All right, let's see those dice.
I kissed my space rock for luck, so I'm going to mark that. 5 and 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11.
All right, Valentine, you've managed to get the Kingfissher booted up and ready to go. You have Diana Chapman on board with you, and as she's sort of looking around, well, she's been on a few spaceships before. She has no experience in driving or operating one in any way. What are you doing?
All right, so you're going to look around the area right here. And the Kingfisher, the inside of it looks like 3 Winnebagos that have kind of been smushed together, I guess you could say, with one of the Winnebagos slightly forward than the rest of them. On the outside, it looks like a sleek, cool, like Star Fox ship. But on the inside, it's much more functional. And so there's just those rotating, probably dreadfully upholstered chairs that are all earth tones. And he's just like, okay, you can go ahead and sit down in any one of these chairs right here, except for not that one, because that's Esperanza's chair. And Zeta, you're going to get tossed out the airlock real quick. That's how you get locked out, And don't sit there, because Swan will talk about the specifications of how that is not an optimal place to sit for the rest of the adventure. So I think just that chair right there. Now, if you see any buttons that you want to press, don't touch those, okay? But the buttons that you don't want to press, the ones that you're just it's just like a switch or something like that, go crazy. I have no idea what those things do. He's going to go around and wheel around and sit in the front primary chair that leans back a little bit more. And it's going to start the process of hitting the 39 different switches and everything like that. Turning on these CRT monitors that are barely giving out any readouts or anything like that. Do you like music or anything like that? I probably can't find a tape or anything. It's probably not for the best. All right, Dr. Chapman, do you know anything about physics?
I mean, I took a few classes in undergrad, but that's, only the most basic.
Okay, Newtonian principles are kind of familiar with you and everything like that. Objects at rest stay at rest, objects in motion,
Yes,
equal and
yes,
opposite
I
reaction.
understand the basics, yes.
Okay, all right. So, thinking the fact that I don't have any guns online for this because it was supposed to be a simple pleasure cruise and everything, I'm going to have to do a flyby on these guys. Do you know what that is, right?
I assume the description of it is pretty much self-explanatory. You're going to fly by them.
Very close, very fast, very rapidly. I'm going to try to knock them into the water and everything like that. But the thing is, I'm going to need you to make sure that I don't get too close to land because the Kingfisher here, she's an ornery girl and everything like that. If that stomach of hers grazes anything of land while she's going, she's going to tip over ass over tea kettle and we're going to be in the drink faster than you can just slurp down one of those like mac and cheese protein packs that we got back there.
All right. Well, the ship that you are attempting to do a flyby on is a full military-grade gunship, and you are just a small cargo ship. So I think this sounds to me like a night move. When you do something risky or face something you fear, name what you're afraid will happen if you fail or lose your nerve. The keeper will tell you how it is worse than you fear. You can choose to back down or go through with it. If you go through with it, roll with the appropriate ability. So what are you afraid will happen if something goes wrong with this flyby?
Oh, I'm going to do more harm than help in this situation, probably damaging the Kingfisher pretty badly.
Oh, it's worse than that. Not only will you damage the Kingfisher, you will alert the gunship that there is maybe more here than they bargained for, and they will come down in stronger force.
That seems fair. Luckily, my specialist move is the ace pilot, so if it can fly, I can fly it. If it rolls or floats, I'll give it my best shot. When I am piloting a flying vehicle, all associated rolls are taken with advantage.
Okay, so if you could roll me the night move, I think this is also with composure.
Perfect. All right. I will gratefully take the +2 of my composure. I rolled 2 3s and a 1, so I'm going to take those 2 3s, I'm going to add that +2, and I'm going to get an 8.
Let's head back up to the boat shed where Esperanza maybe came on a little too strong to Dr. Kim, who's now sort of cowering with nerves as he seems more afraid of you than of the raiders attacking his outpost.
Okay, stay in the boat. Just stay in the boat. Get down in the boat. Don't be visible. Stay in the boat. And I'm gonna go run out and just try and collect more people to get on this boat.
As you leave the boat shed, you see that the group of soldiers in naval uniforms have begun to spread out through the camp, trying to find people and whatnot.
Are any of them, actively threatening a person right now?
I don't think any of them are actively threatening a person right now, but that's only because the various archaeologists at this dig site seem to pretty much be willing to do whatever the big men with guns say.
But, they're, corralling people?
They are corralling people over towards the dining hall where you just left from.
Okay. I keep my gun tucked under my jacket, and I start making my way toward the dining hall.
Okay, this sort of covert move seems like another good day move with composure. What are you afraid will happen if someone notices you?
Oh, I'm afraid they'll see the person with the gun and they will shoot the person with the gun.
That sounds about right. So if you could roll that with composure.
Okay, that is going to be a 6 on the dice plus 1 is a 7.
Avery, as you're walking casually towards the boat shed, you see your compatriot Esperanza Cruz walking a little less casually away from the boat shed, and you notice the bulge underneath her jacket.
I'm always eyeing a bulge. Esperanza, see, what are you doing? We don't have time for them. Come on.
What do you mean we don't have time for them? This is the job. This is how we get paid.
What does it matter if we're paid if we're dead?
There are people in there. Do they not matter to you?
Where did they go to school?
Get in the fucking boat.
All right, don't do anything rash.
Zeta gives the most, just non-response to that.
Goddamn estrogen up to the gills, that one. How has to make a bloodner of everything. And I go into the boat shed. Oh, Dr. Kim.
Yes. Hello. No, there was the loudspeaker, and then your coworker threw me in this boat, and what is going on?
Yes, she's like that. Coworker's a bit strong. We are being raided. This happens sometimes. The last vestiges of the military like to go around to the frontier worlds pretending that they're still the ones in charge and taking anything that they can sell and strip for parts without understanding what it actually is or its impact on civilization as a whole. They can't turn it into a gun. They don't seem to know what to do with it. We're just going to make our way up to a little skiff of ours that we came in on, and we'll get out of here as best as we're able, and ideally, Miss Cruz will be along behind us with another boat and the rest of your team. But the real valuable asset to me is what's in between those two ears of yours. So step lively, and let's see if we can make this work. There has to be a go button somewhere around here.
Oh, these ships are very easy to do. It's just, turn the key and forward, back. That's very simple. But, no. What about the relics? We've unearthed so much here. We can't just leave it all for them.
Everybody's always got something that they need. Nobody values their own skin. All right. Please tell me that you've stored them all in one convenient location.
Most of them are stored at the dig itself, yes. So I think a few people might have taken a souvenir or two back with them, but most of them are stored at the dig site.
Well, we can trust them to keep that in their pockets then. I've got the, I don't want to keep calling it the shiny one. I want to figure out what we actually dug up that is of value here, like something specific that is a precursor.
Okay. Why don't you roll me a recon move with reason to see if the shiny thing is actually something of value or use?
Oh, no. 5 and 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8.
Another mixed success. All right. Speaking of mixed successes, Esperanza, you are walking through the campsite towards the mess hall where, as I mentioned, the soldiers have been gathering the scientists. How are you feeling in this moment?
Definitely outnumbered.
Why don't you take the condition outnumbered, outgunned? Because while you're safe for the moment, should things break bad, as confident and capable of a soldier you are, there are more of them. But, as I said, for the time being, you are managing to make your way somewhat inconspicuously to the dining hall.
I obviously don't blend in with all of these people. I'm trying my best to, but more than anything, any archaeologist that I come up to that is out of earshot of one of these naval officer, quote unquote, guys, I'm just telling them, go to the boat shed. And then just looking away, did someone say something? I didn't say anything. Go to the boat shed. Did you? Go to the boat shed. Just trying to get as many people as I can to just sort of start making their way that way. And maybe if we can all run, we can get away with it.
Well, unfortunately for you, while you are able to get into the ears of a few people on your way to the dining hall, the majority of the camp has already been rounded up and placed inside the dining hall, and there are men with guns standing outside of it. The dining hall itself is another prefabricated building. Its thin walls contain a kitchen and a long dining table. It consistently smells of coffee and mildew. Paint the scene. The dining hall is the closest thing that Camp Sophia has to a social center. What signs show how the dig team spend their downtime here?
There is a corner of this prefab unit that has very cheaply made, probably even fabricated from a 3D printer type thing or anything, made themselves streamers and a little disco ball and a small cheap karaoke unit with microphone.
There are a bunch of Polaroid pictures on the wall under a sign that says best dish this week of different archaeology members with the dish that they made for each other.
Yeah, there's one person 4 times.
There's one guy who's actually the best cook, and the rest of them are just kind of I made nachos.
There's a chipped and worn chess set at one table that is dedicated to that purpose. It's wooden pieces, much handled and smoothed with many thumbs.
As you approach the dining hall, like I said, there are men with guns standing both outside the front door and the back door of the kitchen. There are large windows where you can see that inside, the majority of the dig team has been rounded up, those who you have not managed to either shove into boats or direct towards boats surreptitiously.
How many, not us guys are there?
At the moment, probably about 20.
Fuck, that's so many.
But you saw more than one shuttlecraft detach from the main ship.
Outside this door is just 2 of them?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna get up to as close to either of them as I can. I'm going to shoot one and then try and choke out the other one.
This 100% sounds like a night move.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
no.
for sure.
So what are you afraid will happen if you fail?
Oh, I'm afraid I'll be way too loud about it and more of them will come out.
Too loud shooting the gun?
It's a laser fire pistol. It doesn't have a gunpowder chamber. I don't know how it works. It's quiet to me.
I'm sure Esperanza will be able to use the body of the other guy as a silencer to kill the other
exactly.
guy or something like that. I don't know.
We've moved past loud guns. We are so far in the future, loud guns don't
We've made a
exist.
technological advancement. We have the ingenuity.
It was the first problem we solved when
Yeah.
we got to space.
Absolutely.
There's no sound in space, so we can't have loud guns.
Exactly.
Well, unfortunately, it's much worse than that. Not only will the admittedly quiet noise of your gunfire draw some attention, it will also draw the suspicion that there are more than just scientists here. And the crew of Commander Thade may start being a bit rougher with some of their prisoners, to the point where some of them are severely injured or even die.
Yep.
All right, so that is a night move with vitality. This is going to be at disadvantage because you are outnumbered and outgunned.
Don't say that. That's mean. All right, let me just roll this last one. That last one would have been a 6, but I don't get to count it. So 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 2 is 10.
Okay.
That's my bodyguard.
All right, Valentine, as your cargo ship, the Kingfisher, does its close flyby of the gunship, you are close enough to actually read the name that is written across the side of it. The Azure Dragon, written in bright blue letters. Luckily, your temporary crew member did her job and made sure that you didn't get very close to the ground at all, so you didn't take any damage from that. However, you did get close enough to the gunship that they have definitely noticed you and are starting to train some of their weapons on you.
It would not be me if I did not just immediately do this, so I'm going to go ahead and mark my first Shades of the Past to bump that up from a mixed success to a full success, so that I don't like guns being trained on me. That's actually the exact opposite of what I want to do.
All right. If you would like to go ahead and read the prompt and then narrate.
A flashback to the last time you said goodbye to someone you care about. Why are you worried it may be the last time? We see Captain Deck hitting some nozzles, flying the Kingfisher, this kind of like semi-rickety but also kind of graceful star cutter, swooping down and blowing back, the exhaust blowing back like tropical trees, palm fronds going all over the place, leaning in close. And the captain goes, "All right, Diane, you know what I always say in a time like this? You know what Captain Valentine Shuffle Deck says in a time like this? When you got a big old bully staring down at you in an Etrusian Point Bay dive bar, and you know what? He just found out that you've been cheating the last 4 hands of poker, so he's got you held up by your throat with the back of your head up against the wall and looking at you and saying, 'Hey, bud, do you know exactly what you're doing? Do you know exactly what kind of mess you're stepping in? Do you know exactly who you're dealing with? What are you gonna do about this?' And you know what I say to him every time? Old Captain Deck looks him right square in the eyes and says, 'You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna show you something that's gonna blow your skirt up, pal.' And he's going to prepare that evasive maneuver and look over, and in the frame of like the first viewport of this ship that you can see in the front end, much like any kind of like 1999 Honda Civic or a 93 Toyota Camry, you have little tchotchkes, little knickknacks hanging up around everything, and there are little like frame ports, like little frames from like film that have been cut out and are like plastered on the edges of this ship. And the captain looks at one that has this woman in the foreground where she's crying. She's crying into her hands. And in the background, there's this figure that looks like it could be a cowboy or something that's in the frame of a door and is like silhouetted, like they're leaving. And the captain thinks back on this moment with a blink that cuts like there's like Super 8 film or something that's like catching this moment from his own life, where you see this young girl about 13, the same woman that's in this photo that the captain has, where she is isolated. She's by herself sitting at this like prefab unit kitchen table and working on some sort of homework or something, writing something out, and you hear like a alarm clock going off, ruffling, hands moving, groaning, crunching, moving around as you see Captain Deck stepping out of the back bedroom of this unit, looking a mess, looking like he's late and everything, looking around trying to find his jacket. This kind of mock, like, mixture denim that has, like, a leather tall collar with, like, buckles on it and has patches, like, maybe, like, Air Force in nature, some kind of Air Force or something, and goes, all right, sweetie, Dad's gotta get going and everything, so, Mr. Tinsey is gonna go ahead and take care of you. She's got all of your schedules figured out for your school and everything like that. The kid is obviously ignoring him when he's saying. And he's like, I went ahead and I stored up a bunch of ration points on your card for you and everything, so you can go out, get whatever you need. It's just gonna be a simple, quick, like it's a hauling run, sweetie. All right, you don't have. Hey, kiddo, are you listening to me? Hey, kiddo, is there something that's really important there? Maybe that you can say to me before I have to go for about 6 months. Kid goes, bye. Cool, bye, great, really touching, fantastic. All right, well, I love you, and I hope that you do well in school, and I will see you when I get back from this run, and I promise it'll go by quicker than you think. That's what you said last time. It's what I say every time. And, sometimes things happen, sweetie, okay? Sometimes you have a contract where they don't pay out the fuel card, and so you have to go and play a couple of games a chance so that you can get enough fuel so you can come back home so that you can, take all the money and you can buy, great new, school books and everything for... You're right. I'm being impatient. I'm being insensitive to your thoughts and your feelings. So, I apologize, and I will see you when I get back, okay? Sure, Captain Deck. Great. Good talk. And is going to turn and walk out the door with the doors sliding open, and you have that kind of same, framed shot coming back to it. And just the thoughts reeling back there of, being I've got to get away, this is the last job, I've got to get back to where I'm going, and there's no risk, no chance the captain is going to let anything stop this bird from getting back to where he needs to get it to go.
Your years of flying experience prove themselves in this moment as you take the Kingfisher just close enough to skim the ship, maybe knock it off balance very slightly, and more importantly, knock one of the landing vessels off of its balance, and you see one spiral down and crash into the jungle below. However, while you're able to get some info, do a little bit of damage, and then fly away safely, you do notice behind you a shuttlecraft that is larger than any of the others that you have seen so far, detach from the ship, lower down, as though it's going to land on the river below you. And this one has a picture of a blue dragon painted on the side of it. Avery, as you reach into the accordion case where you hid a piece of precursor tech, you draw your hand away as it is hot to the touch. It doesn't seem to be an intact piece of precursor tech, but rather several broken shards, and you notice that where you touched it, it glows and is warm. This is your first asset. Pieces of broken precursor tech that begin humming ominously, glowing, and are hot to the touch.
Oh, there's something new.
But also, as your hand was singed, I'd like you to take the condition Singed Fingers as you draw them away from this hot piece of metal.
This is why I became an academic. I put the tip of my middle finger in my mouth instinctively to try and heal it. And as I'm doing that, an idea comes to mind. They don't know what this is either. I mean, I certainly didn't expect that to burn me. We don't know anything about precursor tech. It's all fringe science. We don't need to get away from the bully with our lunch money. We need to let them get away with something that they think is more valuable. When I first went off-world, my mother taught me to keep the majority of my funds rolled up in my sock and have only a little bit of pocket money on my person. That way, if I were accosted by a mugger, they would take the lesser sum, thinking that they had taken everything. We don't need to hide the assets. We need to convince them that they've taken them and give them junk. Where are you storing the majority of the find?
Like I said, the majority is down at the dig site itself. And there's also a team down there right now. 3 of us, I believe.
All right, we need to get to them quietly and quickly.
Esperanza, I would love you to describe exactly how you take down these 2 soldiers with military precision.
Zeta walks up to the dining hall with the gun still tucked under the vest, cradling her arm pretending like it's injured, and walks up to the 2 men guarding this door, doesn't even let them get a word out, and immediately pulls out the gun, points it at one, shoots him in the head, grabs the other one by the throat, takes him to the ground, and just holds down on his larynx until he stops breathing.
It takes longer than you would like, but quicker than one would expect for this man to die completely.
I'm going to the back door to try and attempt the same thing. I want all exits available.
Absolutely. You do that with ease, taking it down another 2 guards, and now you have a clear path into the mess hall.
I would love to look through a window into the mess hall and see if I can figure out the best way to get these people out of here without anyone getting hurt.
That sounds like a recon move to me. If you would go ahead and roll that with reason.
Ooh, boy, that's going to be an 8 plus 0, so just 8.
We'll get back to you in just a moment, because the landing craft that your captain saw exit the gunship is now touching down in the river. Esperanza and Avery, you both see this happen, and this time when the door opens and the gangplank goes out, after a few rows of these same sort of, naval uniformed soldiers, you see a man walking out in an over-decorated military costume. Gold braid, medals, every sort of ridiculous accessory that one could imagine a general would be wearing bedecks his navy jacket. He walks with a swagger as he takes a look around. All right, folks. It looks like things are proceeding well here. If a group of you gentlemen would like to accompany me, I think it's time we head towards the dig. And Commander Thade and his closest bodyguards break off from the rest of the camp and head over towards the mostly buried, enormous stone structure that is the precursor ruins that this camp has been digging up.
I just invoked my mother giving me advice about how to avoid robbery. I watch as Thade heads directly to where I need to be quickly and quietly, and scrapping that plan, say to Dr. Kim, well, I never listened to my mother back then. I don't see why I should start now.
Flight of the Kingfisher is a Kitten Marlowe production. This episode was edited and produced by Kim Dalton and featured a theme song by Jason Myers. You can find out more about us by visiting kittenmarlowe.com, signing up for our newsletter, or following us on socials. For Discord access, exclusive cast talkbacks, TTRPG materials, and more, visit patreon.com/kittenmarlowe and join the folks on the frontier, our Kitten Marlowe patrons, in supporting artist-driven storytelling. Thanks for listening.